Please welcome NOPEC Executive Director, Chuck Keiper.
Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. So if I get my book to rest up here. I want to apologize to part of this side of the room that I didn't get to. My goal was to do the wedding thing and get to everybody possible. But I guess I'm going to have to start a little earlier next year. We'll get you seated a little sooner. But good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming. It's an honor always to stand before you and to be able to share with you another year of the NOPEC story, our accomplishments, and tell you where we think we're headed for 2018. So again, thanks for coming. I want you to know that this year is our 19th General Assembly, which means that 2019 will mark our 20th annual NOPEC General Assembly next year. It's hard for me to believe, but I have to tell you, I love thinking about where we've been and how we got here and where we're going. So in the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to tell you all about that. But first, you've already met the NOPEC and NOPEC Inc. Board of Directors. Did you do that? Did you introduce those guys? No one did that. That should have been a part, so let me do that. I'm going to take a second out of my speech. We've got the NOPEC Incorporated Board of Directors is here as well. Tom Chema is the president of that board. Lee Harrington is on that board. And in January, Jan Tully, a former NOPEC board member, a councilwoman from the city of Macedonia, will be joining that board as well. Also, Alan Shriver, former EPA director, is on that board, but not with us at the moment. And you already met the NOPEC board. So that is everybody. So now you've met those folks. Thank you guys for what you do. For us, it's a very important job. I want to take a second and tell you about the NOPEC staff. I'm going to have them all stand up in a second and be recognized. But I say this a lot, but these folks that I get to work with are simply the best. They work hard every day. And truthfully, they make my life really a whole lot easier. I'm proud, and I'm really so very honored to be able to work with them. They follow the NOPEC motto daily and take it to heart, which is we exist to serve our communities and our customers, period. They're your champions in ways that you will likely never know about, but they work really, really hard on your behalf, and I'm really proud and really honored to be able to serve with them. So will the NOPEC team please stand up, all of the staff members? All I can see are lights, so hopefully you'll all be able to see them. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the great people of the NOPEC team. Thank you so very much for what you do. And another world-class team of folks we're fortunate enough to have working in our organization is the team from NextEra Energy Services. With us today from Florida, our Vice President Mark Palanchian over here on my left, your right, Stephanie George, and Andrew Aguido. We have also with us our Ohio-based member development directors, Brenda Fargo, who's just the best. I don't know where Brenda's at. And her peer and partner in crime, Rob Barkley, also the best. I think Rob's down there. So these folks really, on the NextEra team, do yeoman's work for us every day. So thank you guys for what you do as well. And in addition to these fine folks, there are dozens of outstanding committed professionals in Florida, Texas, and Michigan working hard every day to procure the energy, provide the back office operational support, manage the call center, to all in making sure that our customers receive best-in-class pricing, products, services, and of course, attention. We couldn't do it without all of those folks, so thank you, NextEra, and your whole team. We appreciate that. Yeah, give them a hand. They really do work really hard. All right, so let's take a look at 2018. Here we go. Back at the start of the year, NOPEC started by giving back $9.2 million to our customers. And that's how we started. What a great thing to kick the year off with. At last year's General Assembly, there was some very good, although somewhat surprising discussion regarding the design of our customer give back program. But as always, we took your concerns, your thoughts, and your advice to heart. And we rolled up our sleeves, and working with the NextEra team, we found a lower cost way to give back those dollars to our communities. And in the February through May electric bills, our customers received this benefit. We heard you, we acted, and each household saved roughly about $20 over that 5-month period, a 4-month period, about $5 off their bills for a total of $9.2 million. Speaking of electric customers, last year I told you we had 469,000 of them. This year, I'm pleased to tell you we have 510,000, about a 9% overall increase. Our natural gas program, as you saw on the community list, also growing. This year growing by about 10% to over 400,000 households and small businesses, bringing the numbers of total accounts NOPEC now serves to roughly 900,000. A year ago, you authorized some new and exciting programs, and so we launched those programs in 2018. We also continued our work with some of the programs you already come to know, and some of those really started to get some traction. Our new community event sponsorship program totally was a smash. Our Wave Luncheons, Do Not Knock, Energy Bike, and Lake County Captain sponsorship programs all soared as well. I have a short video we're going to show you now so you can see for yourselves just how awesome this program turned out to be. How about that? My guess is you're all going to wake up tomorrow humming that music because you're going to hear it a couple more times tonight. And I just want you to know that's Dave and Mary's fault. I told you last year about two opportunities that we were working on as a result of our contract with NextEra, an electric car and charging station program and a program for cell phone chargers. The staff, myself, Glenn from Bricker and Eckler, and the NextEra team have really worked very hard to try to get a very good understanding of the electric car and charging station opportunities. We've learned a ton, and we're making progress, but this is relatively unplowed ground here in Ohio. Mayor Summers and I were talking about this earlier. There's no example to follow, so we're carving our own path, and we hope to announce a pilot program in the next few months that will target a few urban or near-urban areas where we hope our success will be optimized. I'm sure some of you saw the electric vehicles outside as you entered. Those are the cars we hope to introduce as a part of the pilot. We have vetted a good number of programs: vehicles, charging stations, soft and hardware components, reporting, tracking options, insurance, liabilities, charging station types. The list goes on and on. We reached out to the Ohio EPA in order to hopefully assist and take advantage of and possibly participate in the state's efforts to create and expand EV travel opportunities in the interstate corridors between Cleveland and Columbus and between Columbus and Cincinnati. They're doing that through their expenditure of Volkswagen settlement dollars, and we hope to put NOPEC and your communities at the forefront of that effort. We're also working very hard with a company called Rev, and those guys are here. Some of you know them. They're here today. These guys have an exciting electric vehicle ride-share program, and we hope to announce our pilot with them in the imminent future. We'll be reaching out to communities where we think there would be a good fit with that program. If you have an interest, talk to a NOPEC team member or a board member today and reach out to your relationship manager. As for cell phone charging stations, I want to tell you we've learned that there are literally dozens and dozens and dozens of options out there. So many, in fact, that there's no way to put together a homogenized, one-kind-fits-all type of program. So if you have an interest in charging stations, there are some outside if you didn't see them, you can reach out to a NOPEC team member, board member, or your relationship manager, and we'll try to get a program designed that will meet your specific needs. All right, I want to keep talking about my favorite subject, which is NOPEC giving back. NOPEC's lending and special members-only preferred pricing programs are growing, and they are available to each and every one of our member communities. We've got a great video to bring you up to speed. So, gentlemen in the back, please roll this next video. I'm telling you, you're going to be humming that music in your sleep. Pretty amazing stuff happening there, without a doubt. With any luck in that lending program, a PACE program specifically, we will surpass the $2 million in lending mark early next year and replenish our lending pool with our very first ever bond sale. That's really the work that just boggles my mind. It was one of my dreams when I first came here, and I'm so happy that we're now making that a reality for your communities and businesses. And we've already saw some of this in the last video, but let's not forget the hugest give back of all, our NOPEC Energized Community Grants, where you approved $6 million in 2018 for NOPEC energy efficiency lending. As of yesterday, I think the actual number was $2.85 million approved, and that's very exciting. So many of you have jumped on that bandwagon, and we're very pleased about that, but some of you haven't. So I want to give everybody an important final reminder. If your community has not filled out an online NEC grant profile and told us what you want to do with that grant funding by December 1st, you will lose your 2018 allocation, and that's not something we want to see happen. We've been calling, we've been visiting, emailing, and a few weeks ago, I sent out registered letters to a bunch of you to make sure that you understand that there's a very critical deadline looming. I never thought it would be so hard to give away $6 million. Hard to say, right? But who thought that? So please don't let your community fall into that category. We'll help you do whatever we can to keep the funding, but you've got to get online and fill out that form, and then you've got to tell us what you want to do with the money. So even if you have no idea what you want to do, we'll be able to help you through that and make sure that you're secured for the future. So you got to act, and you got to act now. We told you last year that we would be checking the electric market by completing an electric commodity bid in early 2019, which is coming up. But we've actually been doing some very targeted bidding throughout this year, hoping to find opportunities to bring the advantages of this additional bidding to our customers early. What we've been doing is trying to find new ways to partner with wholesale suppliers that will result in greater flexibility and decreased costs for our customers. We hope to have 1 or 2 new electricity sources soon to add to our overall portfolio with NextEra. And we're also hoping to combine our natural gas and electric opt-out processes into one simplified opt-out mailing. Historically, we have always held opt-outs every 2 years for gas and every 3 years for electricity. Our customers, and many of you here in this room today, have told us that this can be confusing and at times very frustrating. We've been working with the PUCO to get permission to mail both our natural gas and our electric opt-outs in one convenient combined mailing for all of our dual commodity customers, and we hope to do this for the very first time with our anniversary mailing in 2020. Again, our customers have told us what they want, you've told us what you want, and we're trying to deliver those items to you. And speaking of telling us things, in 2017, for the first time, we asked retail customers and governmental officials to join us for a series of focus groups. This past summer, in 2018, we held the same type of discussions with NOPEC small business customers, and we found out some very important things about what our small business customers think about us. Generally, we've been trying to get your input from our customers and from thought leaders from all over our footprint. Many of you here have been a part of those discussions, either one-on-one or in small groups with either myself or with your NOPEC other team members. I want to thank you all. We really can't do what we do without you. Your time is so valuable, and we feel so honored when you're willing to share it with us. And most especially, I want to thank you for being engaged. This is your NOPEC organization, and your input and your feedback are not only helpful and essential, but we cannot be successful without them. All right, one last video. I was going to talk about marketing, but Dave and Mary and Tony and Rachel and our interns, who have been very busy throughout the year, wanted to tell you themselves. So they put together a video for you to take a peek at. So ladies and gentlemen, the marketing of 2018. How about that? All right, I'm going to shift gears now, and I want to talk about the evolution of the energy marketplace in Ohio, and most especially I want to talk about where NOPEC fits within that marketplace. In 2001, when we were first beginning, we were the only competitive force in the market. The exact number of entities supplying electricity within the Ohio First Energy footprint were 2, First Energy and NOPEC. Many of you will recall that our value proposition at that time was simply to be the watchdog for our customers as the Ohio energy world began its march toward complete deregulation for the commodity portion of what customers were paying. Anybody recall, by the way, what our first savings was or what our target was? It was 1%. We were trying to save 1% versus what the utility charged, and that's how we began. And while there may have been no other players in the retail energy space in Northeast Ohio in 2001, take a look at the competitive retail energy providers today. Over 1,100. That's a pretty competitive space. Now, I know you've all heard me say this before, but the competitive forces of the marketplace continue to do exactly what they're designed to do: drive consumer prices down through open competition. So let's take a quick peek at how that process worked. This is historical energy pricing in Ohio from 2001 to now, and look at that. Looks like we're paying just about half of what we paid back in the beginning. So congratulations, NOPEC and you all have played an important role in lowering that price. If any of you remember the electric deregulation white paper we sponsored, researchers at Ohio State and Cleveland State also told us that consumers have saved $15 billion between 2010 and 2015, and that they're going to save another $15 billion between 2016 and 2020. The study also concludes, though, that we could have done a whole lot better if it weren't for the proliferation of non-bypassable riders allowed by the PUCO. Clearly, though, the process of inviting competition to the Ohio marketplace is working, and we're paying less. In fact, we're paying a lot less. And by the way, remember the polar vortex, or more importantly, remember the polar vortex charges that NOPEC customers never had to pay? We saved our customers millions, while non-NOPEC customers were faced with paying a whole bunch of extra charges. There was never any question that our people wouldn't have to pay that. Our contract simply did not allow for that. And I don't need to go over those details, but I do want you to remember that our mission has always been about protecting our people from unanticipated charges. Had we not protected them, you would have been disappointed, very rightly, and you would have been disappointed because these types of protections are a critical part of what we do and why we do what we do, and frankly, they are what you expect from us. I'm going to come back to that thought in a minute, but let's take a look at what's happened at the natural gas world at the same time. NOPEC was, once again, among the very first competitive forces in that marketplace. In 2001, there was essentially us and the gas company. But look at what's out there today. Over 780 natural gas providers in Ohio today, all aggressively competing to take market share away from everyone else, including NOPEC. So let's take a look at gas prices. I always like to tell people when my wife and I first moved into our current home 12 years ago, the very best pricing we could get was around $11 an MCF. At the highest peak in this market, consumers were paying in the $12 to $14 range for gas. I well remember $500 and $600 gas bills, and probably a lot of you do here as well. I remember as an elected guy struggling to help seniors get through the winter heating season, and I'm sure there's plenty of stories that you all remember that as well. Today the market is hovering in the $4 to $5 mark. That's maybe half or even a third of those historic highs. So think about that. We're paying a lot less now, and we get to use that money for other things. If you take a look at those dollars in nominal terms and time value them, we're paying less than our parents paid 35 or 40 years ago. So competition, it's doing its thing. Well, competition and maybe a little thing called the shale revolution in gas, right? But definitely, we're all paying a lot less. So you're probably wondering, why am I telling you this? I've been telling you about our constantly growing competitive environment for years now. So I know you already know that there's a lot of competitors. And I know that you're aware of what's happening out there and that prices have been falling for some time. But I'm telling you this because as competition becomes more and more mature in our state and in our part of the state especially, our value proposition, our entire value proposition needs to be better and more fully understood by all of us. Anybody wondering why? The answer, frankly, is simple. Prices can only go so low, and we can only save people so much money. And if our entire value proposition is wrapped around simply saving money, well, someone's going to be better at that eventually, right? But here, we have never said that. For at least the time I've been here, we've said that we aggregate, we educate, and we advocate. And for years now, we've tried to make that a part of our message. By the way, price, only important at the point of sale. Once we're paying a price, we all get comfortable and simply stop looking every month at what we're actually paying. We don't ever look month in and month out to see if we're still paying the same price. In Frankly, that's human nature. I know I'm getting a good price, so I don't have to look, right? Or more importantly, what happens more often, I know I'm paying a good price, and I don't even think about it. I've been lulled into complacency, and I feel comfortable. How many of you in this room checked your gas or electric bill this month? Or more importantly, how many of you checked it the last 2 months, or the last 3, the last 4, the last 5, or the last 6, or the last 7? No one does that. Well, except maybe our good buddy, Ted. Where are you, Ted? I saw you over here. Ted always checks, and when it's wrong, he calls me. But the point is, we don't look, and it's human nature, and we don't want to look. So, I know what you're thinking. Why is that important? Well, it's important because human nature is exactly what the vast majority of natural gas and electricity providers in our state are counting on. It is the new sales paradigm in Ohio. And Ohio retailers know, and they are counting on the fact that it's only a matter of time before you stop looking and they can move prices up. Let me tell you something else. It costs a lot of money to acquire and to keep a new customer. Any retailer who wants to be in the business of always being the lowest price company is going to find it very difficult to digest those costs. Look at this. The average cost is about $150 a customer. So think about that. Let's say that I'm able to acquire a customer for $140, a little below the average, but that I only ever sell that customer energy or gas at or below the price to compare or the standard choice offer. How long do you think it will take me to recover the money I just spent to acquire you as a customer? I'm not even talking about getting a return on my investment or making a profit, right? So now think about that at scale of, let's say, a couple 100,000 customers. And I think you will start to get the idea. How long will it take to recover all that money? Well, I can think of one very well-known, very recent example in our area where the answer was simply, we can't recover it and we're going to have to declare bankruptcy. So how many of these other competitive retailers do you think might actually just consciously decide to follow that sales model? The truth is, people, no one else is following that model. Here's what's happening in Ohio today. I want to share with you some of the terms and conditions from other service providers. Here's what the AEP terms say in their service contract. This contract will automatically renew on a month-to-month basis at a variable price. Look at the red line. AEP Energy can renew this agreement without your affirmative consent. Or how about IGS? This agreement will automatically renew month to month. Calculated each meter reading schedule based upon costs which include but are not limited to, and look at that long list of things, all these kinds of factors. Or how about Direct Energy? Renewal is automatic, does not require your affirmative consent. Direct Energy typically considers the following factors when setting rates. Look at that long list. This list of factors is not exhaustive, and if you look at the last line, Direct Energy may amortize sudden cost increases over multiple billing cycles. Or how about the next one? Let's look at one more. North American Gas and Power. Again, automatically renewed without your affirmative consent. And these guys say you've got to also include all of that big line of costs, but administrative costs, cost to acquire, that's cost to acquire you as a customer, by the way, marketing costs, profit, other businesses, and market considerations. People, there is a new retail energy paradigm in Ohio, and this is it. Caveat emptor. Remember that great saying? Let the buyer beware. Unless, of course, you happen to be a NOPEC customer. Now, I want to tell you, I could put these kind of examples up for the rest of the day. Ohio for-profit retailers rightfully have the right to expect to make a profit. And they're going to make it one way or the other. I'm an American, I'm a capitalist, and I believe in it. But let's not forget that these folks are counting on human nature, counting on our natural tendency to take our eyes off the road. And by the way, does anybody remember that we send something in the mail? We just talked about it earlier. Every 2 to 3 years, we ask our customers if they want to stay a NOPEC customer. You think any other retailer's doing that? Automatically renew without your affirmative consent. That means they're not sending you anything, right? not jacking up prices when you're not looking, and asking if you'd like to stay are as important a part of our value chain as anything else that we do. And we need to do a better job at telling our publics that that is an important thing for them to consider. So why do you think those clauses might be in those terms and service agreements? The answer is simple, right? Everybody else wants to make money and thereby avoid finding themselves in the not making sufficient money situation like the one playing itself out in Akron. So you say, okay, Chuck, I get it, but honestly, what's the big deal? These guys are good corporate citizens. Why should I be worried about those tiny little things in the fine print, for Pete's sake? Well, funny you should think that. This is a bill that Nicole recently ran across in her travels. It's an actual bill from a non-NOPEC customer trying to come back to NOPEC. It's no wonder why. Take a look at the little yellow highlighted area there. $10.03 in MCF. Over $10 in MCF. I still marvel at that when I see it. A NOPEC customer in that same period would have paid only $2.95 for the same period. That's 2/3 less. Now, you think that person could have used a little help? Well, maybe. But I'm guessing she got a nice low rate when she got started with that company, maybe even a heck of a lot lower than ours, right? She had to get enticed. Or maybe she got a prepaid Visa card or an Ohio State jersey or whatever else it took her to sign up and make that decision. Or, frankly, maybe she didn't make that decision at all. Maybe she got slammed. Maybe someone knocked on her door and she made the mistake of giving them a bill. And they wrote the number down and that happened to her. I don't know what happened, right? We don't knock on doors at NOPEC. We don't slam customers. We don't call them. They're free to come and go. We don't charge them to leave. And folks, that's a very important part of our value proposition that we need to make sure that our customers are aware of. Here's another example. This one's an electric bill. Look at the supply cost that's highlighted. And you're reading that right, 16 cents a kilowatt hour. NOPEC's price during the same period, 5.224 cents, right? I could go on, but I think you got the picture. NOPEC customers never need to worry about finding themselves paying 2 or 3 times over market, ever. It's important because human nature is that when we're just not looking, we're not going to watch every time when we open our bill, and we need to have a NOPEC watching our backs. And as these examples clearly demonstrate, we have a very important role to play as a safeguard for NOPEC customers. So let me give you a little perspective on this as a final thought on this subject. Here's a graph of where people got their gas and electricity in 2001. Remember I said that as a part of at the start of deregulation, nearly everyone got their power from the utility? By design, the utility is the safety net provider. And by design, folks receiving power from the utility are those who don't want to stop or can't shop for some reason, like folks who aren't able to pay their bills or on payment plans, or those kinds of happenings. And by design, the number of people in the safety net pool is going down and down and down. You can see it, right? You can see that in the chart that in 2001, the very start of energy shopping, nearly everyone got their power from utility. So perhaps at that time, using the price to compare or the SSO as a single point of comparison might have made some sense. But look at what is happening today. Only 15% of people get their power from the price to compare or standard service offer pool. That means that 85% of the folks out there that we serve are getting their power from someplace else, either a government aggregation like ours or through a private contract with a retail supplier. 85% get their power from someplace other than the SSO safety net. And by design, that number is going to continue to shrink. You need to remember, though, that the vast majority of your people and community who aren't with NOPEC, they probably aren't in this SSO safety net either. Most of those folks are in a private contract between themselves and an energy retailer. They're enjoying, quite frankly, these terms of service that we talked about earlier, right? That's what they're enjoying. They just may or may not know it yet. In a mature, deregulated marketplace, don't you think a better point of comparison is what the majority of people are paying? And is it fair to think of all of the ways that they pay or might get caught? Well, we think making a total comparison is probably a better way to look at the whole piece of pie. We need to think about shifting our point of reference, folks. If and when you are confronted with an opportunity to compare pricing, remember there are a ton more people in situations like the ones we just described. They are paying what these people are paying, and most folks you run into are paying way more than the NOPEC price. Or, as we pointed out, they're going to be. So, do you think that those terms are in people's contracts for no reasons? The vast majority of folks out there are already paying way more than the NOPEC price for their gas, just like this person. And if not, they're certainly going to be. Competition in Ohio is really essential, and it's here to stay. The safety nets that are the price to compare and the standard choice offer are exactly that. They are safety nets, and by design, the number of people who are receiving their electricity and gas through these vehicles is shrinking to basically only poor folks or new folks who just arrived in your communities. Everybody else is going to be shopping. So when we look at the value propositions, we have to remind ourselves that price, while important, is only one measure, and that our customers, and customers everywhere, whether they're ours or not, should consider the entire offer, or they're going to find themselves paying 16 cents when they shouldn't. And they're going to find themselves in expected and expensive grounds. If you are in a NOPEC community, we are your safety net. We will look out for you. We understand human nature, and we look out for the interests of our people so that they don't have to. Not worrying, not watching. We think that's what our customers have been telling us they'd like to do, and that's what we do for them. I want to go over one final subject very quickly. In the coming year, we're going to be trying out a few new electric products. The market, we think, may be nearing the bottom of a long downward slide. Some of you have asked us about a fixed-rate product, and we heard you. In this market climate, we think it may be a very good time to try a fixed-rate electric product. A number of communities, like Kent, Shaker Heights, and several others, have asked us about a 100% green product, and we heard you too. And you will be able to buy a 100% green electric product. By the way, I want you to remember our standard product is a 50% green product, more than 15 times the Ohio requirement. And don't forget that through the Earth Era program, NextEra, is committed to using a portion of their income from NOPEC customers to invest in new utility-scale renewable generation products. I am almost positive that none of our competitors have made the same kind of commitment to an ongoing renewable investment. And that's just another way that we, through our partnership with NextEra, are able to give back. We've been working with NextEra all year to design and source some exciting new electric products that we think you're going to like. We will be offering both a 12-month and 24-month fixed-rate electric product. If that's not enough, you're also going to be able to buy both of those products with a 100% green supply. If you counted those all up, that's 5 new product offerings that will be available to our customers by the start of 2019. And 2019, going to be another exciting year for us, I think. Another year of giving back, more grants, more sponsorships, more programmings, and more products. As we approach our 20th anniversary, we are doing everything we can to give back to our communities, our small businesses, and our residential customers. I want to thank you for your time and your investment in NOPEC, because I know I speak for the board when I say you are what we're here for, you are what we're all about, and we couldn't be more excited to serve you. I want to thank you again for being here, and thank each of you for what you do for NOPEC all year long. It is our privilege and our honor to serve you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. They did tell me that it's dessert time, so because we love serving you, we've asked them to serve you dessert. I think I have to sit down and be quiet now, right?